Welcome back! A big welcome if you are new to this channel. You are watching French Action and my name is Jenny. It's our 9th lesson. Today we are going to learn how to ask questions in French. So today it will also be part A because we are looking at questions with answers with yes or no. So that's what we'll do first, and then we will listen to the two natives from last week. And today they are bumping into each other in one of those streets in Paris. Of course, there will be more practice with questions and we'll finish off with a role play. Are you ready for this? Prêt? Allons-y. So as I said, today we are looking at questions with yes or no answers. And you know what? There's 3 ways, but don't worry, they're easy ways. 1, 2, 3. So let's go to the first way. The first thing you have to do is just to write a sentence. So you have the person doing the action, which is our subject, then the action in itself, which is our verb, and then whatever else you put after. And that is your sentence as a statement. And then you raise the voice. So you raise your own voice, and this is what you get. Vous parlez français? So you see the sentence was initially Vous parlez français with a full stop. And then when you raise the voice, you get Vous parlez français? As opposed to Vous parlez français. Did you get that? So now, way number 2. Once again, you make your sentence, but this time you are going to inverse the verb and the subject. Remember, I told you subject, then verb, and this time you are going to do verb and subject. And this is what you're going to get. Parlez-vous français? So as you can see, you have the verb parler, and then you have the subject. But when you do that, remember to put the hyphen. So that is our second way. Now let's move to the third way. Once again, we make a sentence, but we are going to add est-ce que. I repeat, est-ce que for the pronunciation. So it's just going to give you this. Est-ce que vous parlez français? So the first sentence you had originally, vous parlez français, you just add est-ce que. Est-ce que vous parlez français? And that gives you your sentence in a question. So let's look at those 3 ways as a reminder. Number 1, the voice goes up. Number 2, you have an inversion. Remember, the verb first and then the subject. And number 3, you just add est-ce que. So we have a statement here. Just imagine in English, you are French. I've already put it for you. Vous êtes français. How are you going to make this statement change into a question? How are you going to do that? So, way number 1, what are you going to do? Think about it. Vous êtes français? So, this is your statement with the voice up. Vous êtes français? Second way. Inversion, remember? So, êtes-vous français? And third way. Est-ce que vous êtes français? So did you get that? So we are going to do more questions later on, but let's listen to a conversation between two people in Paris. Before that, I just would like to introduce you to pleased to meet you in French. It's enchanté. So whether it's masculine or feminine, it is the same pronunciation. But remember, ladies, when you actually say enchanté, if you write it down, don't forget this extra E. So concentrez-vous. Just concentrate on the dialogue.
Oh, pardon. Ah, bonjour. Quelle surprise.
Bonjour,
Comment ça va?
ça va bien, merci.
Je m'appelle Sébastien, et vous?
Je m'appelle Marie.
Ah, enchanté.
Enchantée.
Vous êtes suisse, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, c'est ça.
Moi, je suis français.
Oui, je sais.
Ah bon?
Oui, vous avez l'accent français.
Vous habitez en France?
Oui, j'habite à Paris. Je suis étudiante.
Moi, je travaille dans l'informatique, je suis webmaître.
Ah, c'est intéressant.
Vous aimez l'informatique?
Did you get it? Well, I have to say it's normal speed, but please don't panic. What I'm trying to do is really to get you exposed to real French. This is really authentic, and you're going to see that when you're going to practice more and more, one day you will definitely understand it. So do not panic, and I'm going to go through this with you in a minute. But before, I'm going to play it again, but this time you're going to have the text in front of you, and this is going to help you.
Oh, pardon. Ah, bonjour. Quelle surprise.
Bonjour,
Comment ça va?
ça va bien, merci.
Je m'appelle Sébastien, et vous?
Je m'appelle Marie.
Ah, enchanté.
Enchantée.
Vous êtes suisse, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, c'est ça.
Moi, je suis français.
Oui, je sais.
Ah bon?
Oui, vous avez l'accent français.
Vous habitez en France?
Oui, j'habite à Paris. Je suis étudiante.
Moi, je travaille dans l'informatique, je suis webmaître.
Ah, c'est intéressant.
Vous aimez l'informatique?
So here we are back in the streets, and I'm just going to read the dialogue and explain everything so that it's much easier for you. Oh, pardon. So they bump into each other, so the gentleman is apologizing. Oh, pardon. Ah, bonjour. Quelle surprise. For those who didn't watch the video last week, those two had already met in Paris, and because he sees the lady again, so he says, quelle surprise, what a surprise. Okay, so quelle surprise, what a surprise. And then she says bonjour, of course she's returning the greeting, and he asks, comment ça va? She repeats, ça va bien, merci. And he says his name, je m'appelle Sébastien, et vous, and you? Je m'appelle Marie. Enchanté, enchanté. Now, everything here, we have done it already. There's nothing really new. Let's move to the second part. Vous êtes Suisse, n'est-ce pas? So, you are from Switzerland? You are Swiss, aren't you? So, n'est-ce pas is really a question tag, and you will always put it regardless of the tense, okay? So, n'est-ce pas? Oui, c'est ça. Yes, that's right. Moi, je suis français. Now, you're going to notice this moi, which is really there to draw your attention to yourself, okay? In English, we don't say me, I am French. We just say I am French, but the French like to draw their attention to themselves, so they say moi. Moi, je suis français. And she responds, yes, I know. You remember that we have learned before, I don't know, je ne sais pas. Now, I know is just je sais. And then he says, ah bon? Ah bon? It's like saying, really? Showing surprise. Ah bon? Oui, vous avez l'accent français. Yes, you have a French accent. So, vous habitez en France? He asks. Vous habitez en France? And she responds, oui, j'habite à Paris. Je suis étudiante. Now, one thing I would like to talk about very quickly is the in, which we have twice. Vous habitez en France, in France. Oui, j'habite à Paris, in Paris. Now, you're going to ask me, how come it's in and we have en France but à Paris? Well, the rule is very simple. À is always used with towns and cities and villages, whilst France is a feminine country, so all feminine countries have en before. Okay, so even if it was, for example, England, it would have been en Angleterre, because most countries are feminine in French. So, je suis étudiante. Étudiante here has an E and it's étudiante. So we pronounce the T because it's feminine. But if the gentleman was a student, he would have said, je suis étudiant. He wouldn't have pronounced the T because there's no E after it. Here we go again with this moi. Moi, je travaille dans l'informatique. Je suis webmaster. So I work in IT, in the IT sector. Okay, this is another in meaning inside, okay, which is different from the a and the en. Je suis webmaster. This is the profession. So when you have to say your profession, you will not say a. For example, I want to say I am a teacher. I would say je suis professeur. I wouldn't say je suis un professeur, for example. Okay? So be careful. It's just je suis, and straight away you have the profession. And then she says, ah, c'est intéressant. I don't know if you've noticed, but she said c'est intéressant. She actually linked the T with the intéressant. C'est intéressant is what we call a liaison. You might have noticed that I've done quite a few liaisons. Just try to imitate, just do the liaison. One day I will have a video on liaison so that you understand what it's all about. C'est intéressant. It flows much better than saying c'est intéressant. Okay? And then the gentleman said, vous aimez l'informatique? Okay, here again we have vous aimez as opposed to vous aimez. It's another liaison. Vous aimez l'informatique? Do you like IT? And that was the dialogue. I hope that you really enjoyed that dialogue. Now, let's go back to asking questions. Posez les questions. So, this is the statement. Vous êtes Suisse. You are Swiss. So, how would you ask the question? Are you Swiss? I give you 2 minutes. So, what is the answer? So, number 1, vous êtes Suisse. Number 2, êtes-vous suisse? Number 3, est-ce que vous êtes suisse? Did you get that? Now, vous habitez en France? That was the first question. Can you find the other 2 questions? So I'm going to give you the answers now. Habitez-vous en France? Est-ce que vous habitez en France? And we finish off with this one. Vous aimez l'informatique? So, what are the other 2 options? Okay, let's try now. Aimez-vous l'informatique? Est-ce que vous aimez l'informatique? Okay, so that is the end of this exercise. Did you get the questions right? Please leave a message and let me know how you got on. Now, let's move to the role play. Passons au jeu de rôle. So let's move to the jeu de rôle. But before that, I just would like to introduce the word no, which is non. We know already oui, but I'm not sure that you know how to say no. So oui is yes and non is no. Je répète, oui, non. So this is what I'm asking you to do. So you need to greet the person you're meeting and you say your name and ask for his or for hers. So I'm giving you a choice between a man, Sylvain, or a woman, Marilyn. Then you need to say, pleased to meet you, and ask if he or she is French. And then you will answer, no, I'm from Belgium. And then you will need to ask if he or she is a student or whether or not they are working, okay? And you will finish off with je suis étudiant. Or if you're a lady, je suis étudiante. So I'm just going to read the answers. So you needed to say your name, so you would have, and greet first and say your name. So you would have said, bonjour, je m'appelle, and then you put your name and say, et vous? And then for pleased to meet you, you would have said, enchanté. And to ask whether or not the person is French, you could say, vous êtes français, or êtes-vous français, or est-ce que vous êtes français? So the 3 ways are fine. And then for asking the person whether or not he or she is a student, the same, vous êtes étudiant, êtes-vous étudiant, or est-ce que vous êtes étudiant? And of course, étudiante if we are referring to a woman. And for the work, est-ce que vous travaillez? Travaillez-vous? This is fine. So, how did you manage? Well, how was it for you today? Did you manage to answer all the questions? Yes, you did. Well, if you did, a big bravo. And really, don't panic if you haven't managed to do everything right. The only thing I would advise you to do is to go through the video and practice and practice and practice. Remember, practice makes perfect. So don't panic and just try your best next time. I just hope that you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please like it and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. Ok, à très bientôt. Au revoir.